Welcome to this small video about my internationalization models. In this video, I'll be talking a little bit about the motives for internationalization and a little bit about the triggers. In terms of motives, this is why would a company go international? If we start with the proactive ones, well, a classic one is profit and sales growth. Bigger market, bigger potential for profit, bigger potential for sales. So that makes a lot of sense. But there's also this managerial urge. It could be that there is some managers which have some experience from before, or some managers which are pushed to increase profit, increase turnover. Well, the options that they have is either go deeper into the market. It might be tough, so therefore they go internationally. It could also be that they have a technological urge. They're having a product which is by nature cross-border. An internet or an IT-based products are often in this category. Or it could be that they have a unique product which has a specific market niche that only they can cover in multiple locations. Fish filleting machine, which is unique with patents. Well, it's not just in one country that they are fishing. Well, there's many countries where that machine would be useful. It could also be that they do see some market opportunities abroad, or get some market information about things changing. Quite often these are coming externally from, but I'll get back to that when we talk about the triggers. Another classical internationalization motive in the proactive category is economies of scale. Economies of scale is the idea that if you produce more, the cost per unit produced is going to go down. It does make quite a bit of sense if you think about it. You have to pay for the machine. If the machine costs $1 million and you produce 1 unit, well, the cost per unit will be 1. But if you on the same machine produce 1,000,000 units, the cost per unit for the machine, of course, will be $1. So by producing more or utilizing your capacity even more, you can actually have a larger profit. The bottom one I have here is the tax benefits and how much business is there on Bermuda or the Man Islands or in Liechtenstein. Well, probably not that much, but they do have some tax benefits. Tax benefits meaning that you can actually lower the tax you have to pay for the government for the products that you sell, and thereby earn a higher profit. So it links up to the first one and push those money back into either investments in the company or to your shareholders. There's also the reactive motives, or the things that you do because someone else is doing something, because you're forced to do something. The proximity of customers in terms of geography and psychology is a classic one here. Your company is located right next to the border. Your neighboring companies are exporting across the border, or the ones from the other side of the border. So in essence, even though you have a cross-border and internationalization, it is your local market. That's where the borders become a little bit blurry in things because, well, it is out of the blue. International orders out of the blue, as I write here, is another thing. Your uncle and you are talking at the family gathering. Uncle says, hey, I have a friend in Spain who is looking for a fish filleting machine. You produce fish filleting machines. You say, oh, I can sell one. And there you go. You have an international order. You have an internationalization. Usually internationalization, or like this, or also called sporadic internationalization, goes away again unless you take an active approach and become structured in your internationalization after this. Statistics says it's only about 20% of internationalizations which starts like this, which actually succeed. So be wary of that, but it is a classical way of doing. The next one is seasonality of products. You have a product, say bathing shorts. I'm sitting here in Denmark and, well, my bathing seasons is, well, Thursday and Wednesday in the end of July. If I'm producing bathing shorts, I would probably be interested in an internationalization in order to expand the season where I can sell my products. So I'll also sell it into the Southern Europe parts because there's many more months where my product would be relevant, or even go to the Southern Hemisphere, Australia, South America, where they have the opposite seasons, and therefore I would be able to sell my products during the winter time. Another reactive approach would be competitive pressures. We see that quite often. A competitor does something, you say, okay, what's happening there? They're starting to earn a profit from a neighboring market. All right, if we don't follow along, they will increase growth. And then remember the proactive motive in economies of scale. My competitor will grow, they will get economies of scale, and therefore be able to beat me on my prices in my local market. And that leads me to the local competition. A company in tough local competition might be able to find an international market where the skills they have acquired locally from tough competition will be able to win them easy market shares. You're really good at servicing your customers with very high quality at a low price. Well, someone else might be interested in that product. And if the local competition is weak, well, there we go. You are kind of forced out to do it because you have tough local competition, but you can use it positively. The last one is the excess capacity. You built the machine, you have the factory, you have the warehouse, you have the people, you can produce. Do you want to let it stand idle? No. What to do with it then? Well, sell it to someone else. Go outside your regional or local market and find customers there so the excess capacity can be utilized. A word of warning here. Often when you go into a new market, it's vast and you need to be able to have this excess capacity to service this market. So make sure you have that excess capacity before you do your internationalization. But these are motives, these are why we do it, but when do we then do it? And this is where the international triggers comes in. It's divided into two parts, the internal and the external, or what happens within your company. It could be an event, you have a new product, which is great potential, it's news to the world, you get the patent, it's fantastic. That could be, or you could have a manager, as I mentioned before, which is under pressure to do something more to increase profits, sales, and have the perception that this is actually possible. Or the last of the internal ones, you need raw materials, and import is actually also an internationalization trigger or internationalization process activity. Often we only talk about the export side of things, but importing is just as valid as internationalization. The external triggers, well, as I mentioned before, your uncle having a friend in Spain asking for a product, well, there is a market demand. Maybe you gather there is even more. You attend the exhibition and you see a lot of German customers coming and asking about your product. There is a market demand. Well, let's fill it up. It could also be network partners. Often companies act in networks. You have suppliers, you have partners, and in some products you work with someone, in others with others. A company is not an island. These network partners could also be going abroad. A classic example is a cleaning company. You don't think of cleaning companies as being that international, but this one was, or was becoming international. They had a local producer of detergents. This local producer was only national based, but the partner, the cleaning company, was going international, and they liked the detergents. So they asked this local producer of detergents, hey, can you also export to these other countries that we are in? Of course he can. So suddenly they had an internationalization based on a networking partner. This motive is also often called piggybacking, but I'll get back to that in another video. Competitive actions, well, we've talked about that. Competitors do something, we need to act. One thing which is not that often visible is these outside experts. A consultant comes by. He, of course, wants to earn some money, but he also knows there is a market opportunity. Explains about that in the company, says, wow, we can actually grow, we can earn more money, we can become more successful by doing this, and it comes from the expert. It often links up to the financial support, or especially government programs, which wants to enlarge the cake for the country by exporting products or importing cheaper ones. And often there is some financial support from government side to support this. All right. So this was the motives, proactive and reactive, and the internationalization triggers, internal and external. Thank you for watching this small video.